Welcome to the Facilitators Deep Dive Podcast, your podcast on your way to facilitation mastery. All right, diving in. Today, it's dynamic facilitation. Have you heard of it?
Oh, absolutely. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, we're going to try to get to the bottom of it today. Guiding groups to creative solutions. That's the goal. Right?
That's the idea, yeah.
We've got Rosa Zubizarreta's manual.
Great manual.
Yeah, and she learned it all from Jim Ruff, the guy who, well, created it all.
The originator, yeah.
And let me tell you, this is not your typical brainstorming. Like, this is not just throwing ideas on a whiteboard.
No, it's a much deeper process.
Deeper, yeah. It's almost like paradoxical how the facilitator, they're active.
Nah.
But they're not supposed to, like, control where the group goes, you know?
Right. It's about guiding, not directing. That's a key distinction with dynamic facilitation.
I'm intrigued. So maybe we should start with, like, the origin story.
Okay.
So I was reading this, I'm like, sawmill? Really?
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it.
I thought it was going to be some, like, you know, high-tech Silicon Valley thing.
Right. It sounds like something very sophisticated.
Yeah, some boardroom, not a sawmill.
But that's the beauty of it. It's simple in its origin, but so powerful in its application.
So tell me about that. Like, how did it start in a sawmill?
Well, Jim Ruff, the creator, he was a quality improvement consultant.
Okay.
And he was working with these teams in a sawmill, and they were facing these, seemingly impossible problems. And he needed a way to help them unlock their collective creativity.
Yeah.
So he kind of stumbled upon this method that emphasizes deep listening and allows ideas to flow freely, even conflicting ones.
Okay. So not like rushing to the first idea.
No. It's not about quick fixes.
It's about letting it, like, breathe.
It's about creating a space for something bigger to emerge, yeah.
Oh, okay. So almost like you're not forcing agreement.
Right. It's not about forcing consensus.
You're not trying to find the, like, lowest common denominator.
Exactly. It's not about watering things down.
Right. It's almost like you're trying to find that gem.
Exactly. Dynamic facilitation aims for those eureka moments, those moments where the group taps into a collective intelligence. And they come up with solutions that are both practical and elegant.
Oh, elegant. I like that word, elegant.
Solutions that really resonate.
Okay, so we're aiming for elegance here, not just, like, getting it done.
Exactly. It's about finding solutions that work on multiple levels.
Okay, so help me wrap my head around this. How does letting go of control lead to, like, greater control?
Yeah, I mean, that is the paradox of dynamic facilitation. It's kind of counterintuitive, right?
Really? Yeah.
But think of it this way. Instead of a director calling all the shots, the facilitator in dynamic facilitation is more like a conductor.
Right.
They guide the flow of the conversation.
Okay.
But the music, so to speak, comes from the orchestra, the participants.
Okay, I'm getting that. So it's like you're setting up the conditions.
You're creating the environment.
And then you're stepping back.
Yeah.
And you're letting the group kind of work its magic.
Yeah, you're trusting the process.
Okay, and it makes me think about, like, those sawmill origins, right? You've got all these, like, individual people, but they're coming together.
Each with their own perspective, their own skill.
And they're building something.
Right, and the facilitator is like the master builder, in a way.
Yeah. And it's not like somebody, up in an office somewhere designed the whole thing.
It's a more organic process.
Yeah, it's emergent. It's emergent.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this idea of the facilitator as a conductor.
Yeah.
And we're not rushing to solutions.
We're embracing the process.
We're embracing the process.
Right.
Okay, so how do you actually, like, capture all this, collective wisdom? What's the tool?
That's where the shared map comes in.
Shared map? Is that like a whiteboard with,
It's a visual representation of the conversation.
Okay, so are we talking about sticky notes?
It's a bit more structured than that.
Okay, right.
Dynamic facilitation uses 4 specific types of posters.
4. Okay.
There's one for problems and challenges.
Okay.
One for solutions.
Got it.
One for concerns.
Okay.
And one for data and perspectives.
So, like, as people are, throwing out their ideas and concerns.
As they're sharing their thoughts.
The facilitator's, like, writing them down.
Yes, capturing them on the appropriate poster.
So that everybody can kind of see.
Exactly. Everyone can see the full landscape of the conversation.
Okay, so we're seeing the issues, we're seeing the concerns, we're seeing the possible solutions.
It's all there, visually.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? you don't immediately try to, like, group things together.
No, no, no. You don't jump to synthesis too quickly.
Right, right. And in fact, you almost do the opposite.
You encourage divergence.
Wait, you're encouraging people to disagree.
You're welcoming dissenting opinions. You're making space for different viewpoints.
But isn't that going to lead to chaos?
It might seem that way at first.
You know, like everybody's just shouting out whatever's in their head.
But there's a method to the madness.
Okay, all right. Explain the method to the madness.
By welcoming even strong dissenting opinions, dynamic facilitation ensures that every voice is heard, every perspective is acknowledged, and, you know what? That initial divergence, that initial chaos can actually lead to more innovative solutions.
So you're saying, like, if everybody's just politely agreeing,
You're probably not getting to the really juicy stuff.
you're just scratching the surface.
You need to dig deeper. You need to get into those areas of disagreement.
Okay, okay. I can see that. So, instead of just smoothing things over,
You're actually embracing the tension.
you're leaning into the discomfort.
You're creating the conditions for a breakthrough.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So, all right, help me visualize this. Like, if we've got all these different perspectives and we're not trying to immediately, like, come to a consensus, what does that look like?
Think about it like a family working on a giant jigsaw puzzle.
Oh, okay.
At first, everyone's focused on their own little section. It might seem chaotic.
Right.
People might get frustrated. They might disagree about where the pieces go.
Yeah, like, no, that doesn't go there.
Right. But as they keep adding their pieces, the bigger picture gradually starts to emerge.
Oh, I love that analogy. That's perfect.
And in dynamic facilitation, the facilitator's there to guide that process,
To make sure nobody, like, throws the puzzle on the floor and storms off.
to help people stay engaged, to help them
Yeah.
listen to each other.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not about controlling the outcome.
It's about trusting that the best solution will reveal itself if you create the right environment.
Okay. Trusting the process. I'm starting to get it.
It's a different way of thinking about problem solving.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. All right. So, but the facilitator's not, like, totally passive.
Well, no. They play a crucial role.
They're doing something.
They're guiding the energy of the conversation.
Okay. So how do they walk that line between guiding and controlling?
It's a delicate balance. It's about trusting in the group's capacity for self-organization and allowing the process to unfold naturally.
But how do you do that? How do you let go?
It requires a certain mindset, a willingness to surrender control.
Okay. So it's almost like it's a leap of faith.
It's a leap of faith in the process.
Okay. And I imagine for a lot of people, that's really hard.
It can be, especially for people who are used to more traditional top-down approaches.
Right, where you're supposed to have the answers.
You're supposed to be the expert. You're supposed to be in control.
But here you're almost like you're the guide.
You're the facilitator, not the dictator.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. So, what happens, like, I'm just thinking, what happens when you get to the end and you haven't, like, reached that perfect solution?
That's a great question. Not every session is going to end with a neat and tidy answer.
Right, because real life is messy.
Right. But even when a definitive answer hasn't been found, dynamic facilitation provides a structured way to bring closure.
Okay, so, like, if you run out of time or you just, hit a wall, what happens then?
Well, there are two types of posters used for closure.
Okay.
Results posters
Okay.
and bookmark posters.
Oh, interesting. All right, tell me about those. So results posters, that's like, we got this far.
Exactly. They capture the key takeaways from the session.
Any, like, aha moments?
Absolutely. Any breakthroughs or insights that emerged.
Okay, so it's like we didn't solve world hunger,
Right.
but we figured out, these three things.
You've made progress.
Okay, and what about the bookmark posters?
Those are for the things that didn't get resolved.
Okay, like the loose ends.
Exactly. The open questions, the unresolved issues, the areas for further exploration.
Okay, so it's like we hit pause.
You're acknowledging that the conversation isn't over.
Okay, so even if a session doesn't end with a perfect solution,
It's still a valuable step in the process
it's about acknowledging the progress that was made.
and setting the stage for the next stage of the journey.
This is pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to think about, like, how I could apply this to my own life.
It has so many applications.
Like, not even just like, work stuff.
It can be applied to personal challenges, relationships, community issues.
Yeah. Oh, man. We could talk about this forever.
There's so much to explore.
There is.
Yeah.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the world in, like, dynamic facilitation terms now.
It's a powerful framework.
It is. But, you know what? We're going to have to, like, hit pause for a second. Take a little breather.
Sure, let's take a break.
Catch our breath. And we will, we'll come back and keep going with this amazing exploration of dynamic facilitation. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.
All right, back again. Still unpacking dynamic facilitation. And before the break, we were talking about how this could, like, even help us with our own personal stuff, not just groups.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like the principles, right? Deep listening, being open to different perspectives, even the ones we don't like, and trusting that the process will lead somewhere good. Those can be really helpful for us as individuals, too.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that, like, instead of getting all stuck in my head, trying to force a solution, what if I, like, approached my own personal problems with that same kind of, like, open exploration?
Exactly. Imagine, like, treating your own internal struggles as a dynamic facilitation session instead of trying to shut down those conflicting thoughts and emotions, right? Like, give them space, really hear them, acknowledge them, and then who knows, maybe they'll lead you somewhere unexpected.
So it's almost like I become my own facilitator.
In a way, yeah. You're guiding yourself through those challenges,
Yeah.
but with curiosity and compassion, not judgment.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Instead of wrestling with my problems, I'm like, dancing with them.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's about creating that same safe space within yourself, right?
Yeah.
That a good facilitator would create for a group. A space where you can actually listen to yourself without judgment. Where you can actually, welcome those different perspectives, even the uncomfortable ones.
Okay, so I'm creating that space.
Yeah.
But how do I, like, actually, access that wisdom?
Well, remember in the manual how it talks about dynamic facilitation helping groups tap into a collective intelligence, like something that's bigger than just, adding up everybody's individual brains.
Right. That was really cool, that idea.
Yeah. Well, I think that can apply to individuals too. Think about it. We often limit ourselves, by clinging to the same old ways of thinking. But when we embrace those different viewpoints, right? When we actually allow ourselves to explore that wider range of perspectives, suddenly we're opening ourselves up to new possibilities, solutions that we never could have imagined on our own.
This is blowing my mind a little
Yeah.
bit. But okay, so is there like a downside to this? Like, it sounds almost too good to be true. Are there any catches?
Well, I mean, no method is perfect, right? I mean, it's not like a magic wand dynamic facilitation. There are some things to consider.
Yeah, okay, like what?
Well, for one thing, you really do need a skilled facilitator.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You can't just, like, throw people in a room and say, okay, go dynamically facilitate.
Right. It's not quite that simple. You need someone who can actually create that safe space, right?
Yeah.
Manage the group dynamics, keep the conversation flowing in a productive direction.
Yeah, keep it from going off the rails.
Exactly. And, recognize those aha moments, guide the group toward concrete outcomes.
Okay, so a good facilitator is key.
Absolutely. And then, there's the time commitment.
Yeah, right. Because, like, this is not a quick fix, right? It's a process.
Right. It's definitely more time intensive than, just making a decision by yourself.
So it's not really a good fit if you need, like, an answer right this second.
Right. It's best suited for situations where you can really dive deep, explore a wide range of perspectives, really, really get into the nitty gritty of the issue.
Okay, that makes sense. So time commitment, skilled facilitator. Anything else?
Well, I mean, group size can be a factor.
Ah, right. Because if you've got, like, 1,000 people, it's going to be tough to get everybody heard.
Right. Dynamic facilitation tends to work best in smaller groups, where there's more opportunity for individual participation, deeper engagement. In larger settings, you might need to adapt the method, break into smaller groups or something like that.
Right. To keep that individual focus.
Exactly. And I mean, it's also worth thinking about the organizational culture, right?
Ah, yeah. Like, is this going to fit in with how things are done around here?
Exactly. Because dynamic facilitation, it relies on a certain level of trust, a willingness to let go of control.
Yeah.
And if you're in an organization that's really, really, top-down hierarchical control focused, well, then this might not be the best approach.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to plant a, delicate flower in concrete.
Right. It might not thrive in that environment.
Okay, so dynamic facilitation, powerful tool, but not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Exactly. It's about finding the right tool for the job.
Yeah. Okay, so before the break, we were even talking about, like, could this be used for, like, big, huge conflicts, like, in politics or international relations?
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? I mean, could a method that was born in a sawmill somehow help bridge those huge divides, foster collaboration on a global scale?
Yeah. It's a big leap. But the core principles, right? Deep listening, embracing the differences, trusting the process. Yeah. I mean, those could definitely play a role.
I think so. And, thinking a little smaller scale, it's already being used in places like schools and community organizations.
Ah, okay. So, like, instead of the teacher just lecturing at the students.
Exactly. Imagine a classroom where the students are actually encouraged to share their perspectives, even if they disagree, and they work together to find solutions to real-world problems.
So it's not just about learning facts and figures.
It's about learning how to think critically, how to collaborate, how to, be part of a group that's working toward a common goal.
Yeah. And it's about, not just accepting what the authority figure tells you.
It's about empowering them to take ownership of their learning.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. And what about in community settings?
I mean, think about bringing people together to address, shared challenges like revitalizing a neighborhood or creating more inclusive public spaces.
Right. So instead of just having, like, the city council decide what's best for everybody.
Exactly. You're actually involving the community in the process.
So it's not just like top-down solutions.
It's about empowering communities to create solutions that actually work for them.
Yeah. Okay, that's really powerful. I'm starting to see dynamic facilitation as almost like a universal language
for collaboration, for creative problem solving.
Yeah. And it's not just about, like, finding solutions to problems out there.
It's about transforming the way we communicate, the way we relate to each other.
So it's about building deeper connections, fostering understanding,
creating a more harmonious, collaborative world,
both within ourselves
and in our interactions with others.
Man, this deep dive it's been really eye-opening. I'm starting to see challenges in a whole new light, and you know what? I have a feeling we've only just scratched the surface.
There's always more to explore.
Always more to explore. But for now, we're going to have to, take a little pause, catch our breath.
Okay, sounds good.
And we'll be right back to wrap up our exploration of dynamic facilitation. Stay with us. Okay, we're back. Still deep in dynamic facilitation land. And before the break, we were sort of riffing on, how it could work in schools and community settings. It's like, it just seems like this has legs, beyond just like businesses and stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It really does seem to tap into something fundamental about how humans interact, this idea that when we really listen to each other, even when we disagree, like really disagree, something bigger can emerge, like a collective wisdom that's more than just the sum of its parts.
I think you're right, and maybe that's part of why it's so powerful. It's not just about, ticking boxes and getting to a solution. It's about creating that space where people actually feel heard and respected, like their perspectives, even the weird ones.
Yeah.
They matter.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about valuing every voice, right? Even the ones that might normally get shut down or ignored. And when you do that, when you create that kind of environment, I mean, who knows what could happen, right?
Yeah, totally. So earlier we were talking about how this could be helpful for, like, conflicts, between teams or departments. Could you like walk me through how that might actually work, like in real life?
Sure, yeah. Okay, imagine you've got two teams, right? And they're constantly butting heads. Maybe it's about resources or project priorities or whatever. And instead of, just imposing a solution from above or forcing them to compromise, you bring them together for a dynamic facilitation session.
Okay, so you've got, like, representatives from each team.
Yeah.
All in the same room. And you've got a facilitator, obviously. What happens next?
Well, the first thing is to create that safe space, right, where people can actually share what's really on their minds. Even if it's critical of the other team, the facilitator will help lay down some ground rules, make sure everybody feels heard, understood, and then they'll start using those posters, right, to capture all the different elements of the conflict, the problems, the solutions, the concerns, the data points from each team's perspective.
Oh, I see, I see. So it's like instead of just having all this stuff swirling around in people's heads, and they're just throwing accusations and stuff back and forth.
Right.
It's all up there on the wall.
It's all out in the open.
And everybody can see it.
They can see the conflict laid out, in this clear, structured way.
And I imagine that could really help to de-escalate things, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It helps to create this shared understanding of the situation. And as the teams work through the process, they might start to see areas of common ground or identify shared goals or even come up with creative solutions that they never would have thought of on their own.
That's what's so cool about this, right? It's not just about putting out fires. It's about using that energy, that conflict energy,
to create something new.
Yeah, to actually make things better.
It's about turning those conflicts into opportunities, right? For growth, for innovation, for deeper connection.
It's a powerful reminder that even when things are messy and people disagree, there's still a possibility, for something good to come out of it.
There's always potential for collaboration and understanding.
Well, that's a great place to wrap things up, I think. And listener, I hope this deep dive into dynamic facilitation has given you some new ways of thinking about the challenges you face and maybe even some ideas about how you might apply these principles in your own life,
Whether you're facilitating a group or navigating a personal dilemma or we're just trying to have a more productive conversation, remember the power of deep listening. Embracing those different viewpoints, even the ones that make you, uncomfortable, and trusting that the process will lead you somewhere good.
That's great advice. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep. See you next time on the Facilitators Deep Dive Podcast, your podcast on your way to facilitation mastery. Until next time.
See you then.